Hello, it's Alexandra Middleton, your guide to Arctic news, research, and scientific knowledge. I try to release these short videos every week, and they are basically the summary of my Arctic Highlights newsletter that I publish on LinkedIn quite regularly. It's been a fantastic summer here in Oulu with wonderful weather. And there has been a lot of activity in the Arctic domain, and I will share some profound reports and news that I find of interest for you. First, let's start with a report that was published by University of Ottawa, Canada, and it deals with disinformation in the Arctic. Of course, disinformation is a topic that is global, but it's also pronounced in the Arctic because of climate anxiety and geopolitical tension. The authors of the report claim that this intersection of topics creates a strategic tool for some nations and players to leverage, and also to use as a disinformation tool to create certain narratives in the Arctic. The authors use a comprehensive data set, including social media posts, and you can study this report in detail. It's quite a big report that I will link to this video. What the authors suggest that should be done to combat disinformation in the Arctic is that we should rely on hard science and also supplement it with knowledge we receive from local communities and indigenous Arctic peoples. The next report that I'd like to highlight to you today is about energy in the Arctic. Quite often in the news, we hear that there is a rush for Arctic resources, that there is a lot of investment opportunities, and a lot of untapped oil and gas in the Arctic. But the newest report by Carnegie Endowment actually breaks that statement. What they find in this report is that Arctic energy projects are quite often not economically viable because of high costs of infrastructure required for such projects. And also the current price of energy, especially US shale, is affecting the situation. Russia still is the dominant player in the Arctic energy landscape. It has been affected by sanctions in terms of getting technology and financing for its projects. Nevertheless, it's developing LNG projects in the Arctic Russian territory. Since the announcement of sanctions, the Russian energy projects have been pivoting towards China in terms of getting technological advances, also getting finance, and China being the biggest customer of energy products derived from Russian Arctic. The authors of the report also mentioned that many discussions and narratives in Arctic energy space are driven by the fear of missing out, meaning that even being not economically viable, the players and the actors promote such such projects because they deem that they will be strategically important in the future. Then we move to Norway. Norway has recently addressed the problem of overtourism that has been quite substantial in the Norway in the Arctic. According to the proposal by government, the municipalities will be able to charge 3% from overnight visitors. In order to replenish infrastructure, what the local leaders say that there is a flaw in that proposal because this doesn't affect day tripping passengers, especially from big cruise ships. So this proposal is planned to be implemented in 2026. So we'll see whether there will be any amendments to that. And finally, there is an op-ed by a US Army official that says that proposed an idea that the US should buy Commodore Islands in the Pacific Ocean, quite close to the Bering Strait, in order to establish a base to monitor Chinese submarine activity heading towards Central Arctic Ocean. But you'll also find link to that op-ed in the description to this video. So these are the main news, main headlines, and I'll see you next week. Please remember to subscribe and share my channel to all Arctic enthusiasts.